All right, this video is going to go over different types of factoring, how to recognize when to do what, because I feel like that's the biggest problem with students when they're trying to factor. They don't know which one of these it is. So my advice to you, the very first thing you should do is you should count the terms. So like this one right here has 3 terms. This one right here has 2 terms. So that helps narrow it down. And then you're going to want to look at the exponents. So let me show you a couple examples and I'll show you what I mean by this. This number 1 has 2 terms, so it's got to be one of these. It can't be a trinomial, it can't be grouping. Now, since I know it's one of those, I look at the exponent. This one's a square, so this could be a difference of squares. I kind of have to think about it though. When you do difference of squares, both of these numbers have to be perfect squares, like 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. 14 is not a perfect square. So this one's not a difference of squares. It can't be a cube. Some are difference of cubes because the exponent's 2. That leaves, maybe it's just a GCF. And if you think about it, yeah, it is just a GCF. Both of these numbers are divisible by 2, and both of these terms have the letter x. And when you divide that out, you get 8x minus 7. Done. It was a GCF. This next one. This is a 3 terms. 3 terms, unless it's a GCF, it's like almost an automatic trinomial. And when it's a trinomial, this is the way that I teach my kids is the rainbow combo. So you rainbow the first number, which is a 1, and you multiply times the last number. So 1 times negative 39 is negative 39. And then you also think about the middle number, which is negative 10. You're going to have to find two numbers that multiply to be that rainbow, negative 39, and add up to be negative 10. So in this case, it's 3 times negative 13 that makes that combination work. These are the only 2 numbers that multiply to be negative 39 and add up to be negative 10. Now you put them both over the very first number, which was a 1. See the 1? Then you write bottom, so 1 is my bottom number, then the letter x, then the top number, plus 3. Bottom, x, top number. Done. All right, this next one is another 3 terms, so it's probably going to be a trinomial. So this is the rainbow combo. Rainbow, the first times the last term. 4 times 6 is 24. This is what my 2 numbers that I'm going to find have to multiply to be. They have to add up to the middle 11. So that's 8 and 3. 8 and 3. You put them over that first number, that 4. Now here's the thing, you have to reduce if it's reducible. If you don't reduce, you're going to lose. And then you just do the same thing, right? Bottom, x, top. Bottom, x, top. Just like that. Okay. Now we get to some 2-term ones. So look at number 4. There are 2 terms there. So it's got to be one of these. And now I look at the exponent. It's a 2. So it's probably going to be a difference of squares as long as these numbers are perfect squares. Well, 144 is. It's 12 times 12. So when it's a difference of squares, you just set up 2 sets of parentheses. You say what times what makes x squared? Well, that's x times x. And what times what makes 144? Well, that's 12 times 12. And then one's a plus, one's a minus, and you're done. Those are possibly the easiest. Okay, this next one, 2 terms. So it's got to be one of these. It's a cube. So it's got to be one of these. It's a minus in the middle. So it's got to be a difference of cubes. So you go get your cube root of these things. Cube root of 125 is 5. And then you just plug this into the equation, which you should already have, or at least have it memorized with the SOAP method. If you don't, go watch the other video that gives you that equation. But this one's just going to look like this. X minus 5 x squared plus 5x plus 5 squared is 25. Done. Okay, this next one, 3 terms. So it's probably going to be a trinomial. So I'm going to rainbow and find the combo of numbers. So 2 times 36 is 72. That's what my combo of numbers has to multiply to be. It has to add up to be negative 17. So that's negative 9 and negative 8. Put them over your first number. Again, you must reduce. And then you write bottom x top. Bottom x top. Just like that. Okay, this next one has 4 terms. When it's 4 terms, it's almost 99% of the time grouping. Although sometimes it'll just be a GCF, so you got to kind of watch that. But this one's going to be a factor by grouping. Remember, when I do these, I do them in the box. Makes life a little easier when you're nice organized, putting it in the box. So x cubed minus 6x squared, 4x, and minus 24. You look down the lines. So these guys, they share x squared. These guys, they're both divisible by 4. So plus 4. These guys, all they share is an x. And these guys, they're both divisible by 6, and your lead box is a minus. So you write minus 6. So my answer here, I have x squared plus 4, and I have x minus 6. Okay, this next one, 3 terms. So it's probably going to be a trinomial. So do your rainbow and see if there's a combo of numbers that'll work for this. So the rainbow here, it has to multiply to be negative 28. It has to add up to be 12. So let's see, that's going to be negative 2 and 14. Now that you have a combo of numbers, put them over the first number, which is a 1 here. It's 1x squared. Then you write bottom x top. Bottom x top. You could just put x plus 14. You didn't need the 1x there, just a heads up. Okay, moving right along. This next one, 2 terms. So it's one of these. Look at the exponent. It's a cube. So it's one of these, and it's a minus in the middle. So it's got to be a difference of cubes. So again, go get the cube roots of these things. Cube root of 8 is 2. Cube root of 27 is 3. Then just plug them into the equation. So it starts out 2x minus 3. Then this part's a squared, so 2x squared. We'll get to that in a second. Plus 2x times 3 plus 3 squared, like this. Okay, now you have your 2x minus 3. But this part, this 2x squared, is going to become 4x squared. The 2 gets the square as well. Then it's plus 6x plus 9, just like that. Okay, 3 more. This next one, 2 terms. So then I look at the exponent, and it's a square. So this is probably a difference of squares as long as those are perfect square numbers, which they are. 16 is 4 times 4. 49 is 7 times 7. So this is a difference of squares. So you set up 2 sets of parentheses. You say, what times what makes 16? Well, that's 4. X times x makes x squared. 7 times 7 makes 49, and then one's a plus, one's a minus. Nothing to it. Okay, this next one. This is 4 terms. 4 terms is probably a grouping, so I'm going to go ahead and set up my box. Put it all in the box. Okay, now I'm going to GCF down the lines. So this one, they both, I don't want to change up order on y'all, sorry. We'll start with these just like we have always been doing. These 2, they are both divisible by 6 and they both have x squared. These 2, they are both divisible by 7 and the lead box is a minus, so -7. These, they're both divisible by 5, and they both have an x. These, they're both divisible by 3. Then you just write what you have. So 6x squared minus 7, 5x plus 3. Which brings us to the last problem. The last problem is a 2 terms, and then you look at the exponent and it's a cube, and then you look in the middle, it's a plus. So this is a sum of cubes. So you need to go get A and B. So the cube root of 64 is 4. Cube root of 1 is 1. You just plug them into the equation. So it's going to look like this. 4a plus 1. 4a squared. Sorry, that should be a minus. Okay, it's not going to look perfect. My pen's running out of battery, so it's kind of off. Minus 4a times 1 plus 1 squared. Then just work it out a little bit. 4a plus 1, 16a squared minus 4a plus 1. Just like that. So again, when you approach these problems, the first thing you want to do is you want to count the terms. If it's 3 terms, it's probably a trinomial, which we do the rainbow. If it's 4 terms, it's probably a grouping. It's just on the 2 terms where you really got to look at the exponents or be kind of thinking maybe it's just a GCF. But anyways, that's how I narrow it down, and that's how I solve all of them. So hope this video helped.